All right, Mike, introduce yourself, please.
Mike Jaglowski, Bannock County Engineering. And Commissioners, I have a budget for you. To me, this seems pretty straightforward. There's not much change from last year, other than probably my big ask is to add another employee. And I know that you've heard that quite a bit, and I guess I'd be happy to try to entertain any questions that you might have, but probably the biggest piece that I would like to explain in there is that without specifically looking at all the individual tasks this employee would be doing, they would be starting off with things like floodplain and the ISP, or excuse me, the Idaho Discharge Elimination System, permitting, or the stormwater system that we've been working on, and those type of things, along with other county engineering tasks.
So that's for EIT?
Yes, that would be for an EIT.
So a civil
EIT, or another.
or environmental?
Environmental EIT, or we could use, someone through the MPA program.
So the reason that I'm asking for specifically in the civil, the landfill was in earlier, we're having a discussion, specifically in remediation, there's a lot of stuff, water testing, wells, a lot of that there could be some savings in that remediation stuff instead of having somebody else do it for us. It could help pay for this line item and pay for that salary, but it would probably be 50 to 75% of the time it need to be up at the landfill, and then that would leave you 25 to 50%, depending upon what that split would be, for floodplain remediation and a bunch of other stuff that way. I definitely think the landfill needs somebody like that up there. But the problem is they need probably an EIT. But there's a lot of stuff up there that they could do, but they need to be underneath the supervision then of the engineer. Specifically, you're not going to get somebody to come be an EIT up there if they can't count their hours towards.
Right, that would be important to whoever the candidate is.
Yeah, and so you're just not going to fill that. And so that's why I say is there's a lot of things up there that we have lost when Corinne left. And we didn't go back and fill that back in. But I definitely think, especially after talking to Kyle and those guys earlier, where there's a lot of that engineering stuff that we don't need a PE to do, but they need assistance, they need help, but it's somebody that would have to be up there, under the direction of the engineer for 50 to 75% of their time, depending upon the projects, but then that other 25 to 50%, depending upon what that split would be back working on floodplain and everything that we were talking about that way. That was just something that has come up. I'm okay with that. That's actually something that I think that is probably one of the top priorities that we need to do, especially knowing what's going on with growth. And if it continues the way it's going, then you're talking next year of maybe even a change to that funding source of maybe it's a different mix or a different asset that way. But that would be something that for me, that we definitely need to look at doing it. So.
Well, I would agree.
Just, and like I said, especially after Kyle talking to us about that, I think it's kind of a no-brainer.
I think so too.
Maybe in conjunction with that is that we could look at some of the intern programs as well, because I think the task level of things that I'm not completing now is greater than 10 hours a week, which would be about 75%. So maybe we could use a combination of the two.
Well, and that's what I was talking about, of that 25 to 50%. Whatever's available that time frame. I think that you're going to have a lot of engineering while some of this remediation work is being done. I think you might have spurts where you have a lot of time that might be needed, and then not so much, and then a lot of time and then not so much. And when you have those times available, especially if they can be used to do all the stormwater remediation. A lot of that stuff that we know, all those permittings, and just keep working through it, because like I said, as it gets busier, and that's money that we're not paying then to CDM Smith, because CDM Smith is going to charge us for PE to do it, when we don't need a PE to do it. The difference is we pay somebody to do it, or we pay them $200 an hour plus.
Right.
So.
Well, however it works, I would be willing to try to work out any way that we can to have some extra help there, at the county engineering side. of things. I mean, if it only turned out to be 10 hours a week for, 6, 8 weeks a year and the rest was 50%, any amount would help.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you gotta have somebody to help do calcs and do some of that stuff that's above that, but I really don't wanna pay CDM Smith to do it, because they'll charge us.
But I do think you're right. You would definitely want it under the county engineer just so that they have opportunities to record the time towards their professional licensing.
Yeah.
Some of the other items that I have on here is an increase. I suggested an increase. That's down on line 753 on that. The increase is going from $15,000 to $20,000. When we put this report together initially, we were almost at our budget. We were like $12,000 out of a $15,000 budget. And what that contract services completes is all the surveying reviews and different things that happen with respect to final plat reviews for the different cities and also for the county projects.
And we do get some reimbursement monies on that back.
Right, that is also fee-based. And pretty much from there is a couple reductions. I think I had dues and subscriptions on that from $500 down to $300. That's just because there isn't, $500 would be too much. $300 is a lot better. I mean, just for an example, I pay for my own professional engineering license. I feel like that's my obligation. I use it other places in Idaho, and the county shouldn't be paying for that.
Questions?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm with Terrell on the engineering tech.
May I forgot to mention one other item. May I take a minute or two? The stormwater management, last year, it was $22,220. This year, it was decreased on that, just from different ways of being able to,
To do it?
yeah, to handle different things. That's a fee that we pay to the city of Pocatello for our portion of their staff to be working on the permit in general. And I would expect that amount to fluctuate every year, up and down a little bit.
Okay. Good.
Anybody else?
Nope.
All right.
I'm good.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
boss.
Thank you, commissioners, appreciate your time. Hopefully all budgets go this way for you.
Yeah.
Too late.